Hello everyone, this is David here. Today we're going to be creating end credits in Adobe Premiere. So let's get started here. I'm going to select new project. I'm just going to grab any clip here from my Ghost Adventures Luigi Mansion film. Now the only reason why I put this in here was just so that there was something put in there. You probably don't have to put anything, but we're just going to have it in there for continuity reasons. So to create your end credits, you just start off by putting in your text. We're also going to zoom in because for whatever reason it puts it up really small and it drives you crazy sometimes. So we're just going to type in, it's not how you spell my last name. There's supposed to be a French accent on top of that E, but I'm not going to bore you with going into Word and finding that symbol. So there's our word. I'm going to go back to fit. It's not terribly small, but actually let's go back in here and type in some more words. Leisure. Okay. That's Goldblum, not Goldblum. I thought it was Goldblum for a long time. Anyways, we're going to go back to fit. And so here's your credits here. These are your basic credits. And you can adjust the size, not with this. If you scroll down some more, you got your text and you know all that. But what you want to do, what you want to make sure right off before you do anything else really, is make sure that your text is centered. Centered. Okay, apparently I have to align left there. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to do that. Center it and then come up here and you have to really center it. So I don't know what the technical what's who's it's of that. All I know is those two buttons center it. Make sure both of these buttons are in the middle. That's all. Center and then center again. You don't want to start off and then have everything to the left or to the right. So I'm really not going to get into how to change text. I think that's pretty self-explanatory because we're really talking about credits here. If you do want to change the text, you have to highlight everything because just changing it down here without it being highlighted isn't going to change anything. But we're not worrying about that right now. So what you want, and this drove me crazy whenever I was first doing this, is you're looking for, there's a special mark down here below one of these things, but it's called roll. And you're thinking, at least I was thinking, where the heck is it? You know, I was going crazy. You know, it's not on here. You have to click off of your text and click on to your arrow, or at least just click off of it. Make sure that's unselected. And here it is. Here's your roll. This is what you want. So we click that and then our movie's over, you know, ta-da. And then the credits roll. There's your credits. Now what's nice about this is the longer you stretch this, you know, say that you have a song that you want to play and the song is 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Well, you can drag this out to 2 minutes and 30 seconds and guess what it's going to do? It's going to play to the length of the song and how much text that you have in here. So whatever you want to put in there, this thing is always operating by its length. So it'll go slower or faster depending on how much text you have in here, but really like how long you stretch it out. There's another thing in here too. I would offer some opinions. I would not uncheck the box's start off screen, and I certainly would not uncheck the box end off screen because you'll see if you uncheck the box end off screen, it's going to end you in an awkward place. And nobody wants that. So you always, at least in my strong opinion, can't see any reason for not having that box checked. You always want to have both of those boxes checked and to have it end off screen especially. Now there's a special option here which is called soften. If you look closely, the soften almost makes your text a little transparent. So it adds a really nice professional look to it, especially if you're in a dark movie theater and it's not too harsh on your eyes. I click that for my end credits. Honestly, I just created my first end credits yesterday. Personally, I would have that box clicked to soften. A, because it looks more professional, and B, because it's easier on the eyes. And I'm going to share a secret with you. Sometimes the best fonts are your more traditional fonts. You might not think that Times New Roman would be a good font, but it actually is a pretty good font for these end credits. I added some more words and made them a bit bigger. You can actually set it so that it starts rolling before a certain time, so that's kind of nice. That's what pre-roll will do. I'm really not going to get into some of these other things. I wanted to show you the basics of about how to put end credits, because a lot of people, they throw off end credits. You know, maybe they don't even think about it, or, you know, it's not a thought in their head to put it into their videos. It makes you look more professional, but more than that, you know, you got to give credit where credit is due, and you got to start somewhere, and I would suggest starting as soon as possible, and not, you know, later whenever you're like, oh, now I have to do it. You want to give people credit. You know, if you put an actor in your film, or if you have a song that you took somewhere, you want to put it in your credits. But this is a nice little feature of Premiere's. I just learned this yesterday. There are some other things to play with. So what post-roll does, if you set it at 405, it will end at 405. So what ease in and ease out is and what it's supposed to do, it's the pullback punch, you know, before the person punches, and then they ease in, ease out. That's what it is. Let's see, what does this show text and panel? Wow. That makes my life a lot easier. But the gist of this video is how to put in the end credits, not really other things. That's basically it. And when it comes to the end credits, you should be mindful of end credits. And it really didn't take me too long how to figure out how to do it, but I mean, that roll feature really helps a lot. Soften this. See, you can see it more pronounced now. In fact, let me zoom in. See that? That soften makes a big deal to me. I think that's a really big deal. Now, I'm going to show you something actually pretty interesting that I did for mine. Say that you're a big movie director and you're like, oh, I want it to end on my name, right? You know, seems like maybe you have a little something after your credits, and you like to, or for whatever reason, you want it to stop on your name. You know, directed by Steven Spielberg. You know, that's cool. But there's no option in here to do that, and it boggles my mind. There's no stop button. There's no button here that says I want my end credits to stop here so that I can take this and just hold it. I just want to hold it for 5 seconds. There's no button in here that exists. You're gonna have to find a way around that, and I'll show you what I did. When you are really, you kind of have to eyeball it. But when you are satisfied and you feel like, yeah, this is the inside, this is the center of the screen, directed by, you know, me or whatever, you're going to take a picture of it. Make sure that you don't move your cursor. See this blue line? Make sure that you do not move it. And if you do move it accidentally, you might have a bit of an annoying time finding out where you were. So what you want to do is you drag that in here, and now whenever you play your credits, you know, my heart will go on, and then you're getting to the best part, which is your name. Boom. Stops right on your name. And depending on how vain you are, you can have it pause for as long as you want. Now, I'll take this ball and run even further with it. Say you want to be extra fancy still, and you want your directed by your name to fade out. So we went to Effect Controls, not Effects, Effect Controls, and that's going to bring up your effects here. What we're looking for is opacity, if you remember in After Effects, and we're going to scroll down, and there's our opacity. It's right there. And make sure that you're clicked on this, because what Premiere loves to do, it loves to click off of your image that you're trying to get that thing on and put it on the main video. Well, we're not doing that. We're putting it on the image. We click opacity. It's at 100. We go to the end, zoom in, make sure that we're at the end, and make sure again that we're on our image and not the video. And then we click opacity and we put it down to 0. What happens sometimes is, and what happened to me, is that after it's directed by, and then your directed by fades out, sometimes there's stragglers back here, and it's giving away the magic trick. So what you want to do is, in your video this time, see, Premiere was so excited it just hopped on it itself. You can put your opacity in the video this time at 100%, and you want to put it at the start there, just as that is. And at this point, it doesn't matter where else you put it, just so long as it's before your fade on the image. Put your fade, it doesn't even matter if it's 1 second after. Put your fade in at 0 on your video, not on your picture, on your video. So that if there were stragglers, this is going to fade out long before this image does. And so if there are stragglers, it'll just be a black screen by that point. You will not see any text. That's a little trick that I created. Probably a lot of people know it, but it boggles my mind. I do not understand why Premiere does not have a stop button where you can just do this without having to, you know, pull a Houdini. It doesn't make sense to me. It really should just be, there should be a button right beneath this soften that says stop, where you just stop it. I don't know why it doesn't have that. Search me, but it is what it is. You'd be surprised if you're picky or a little bit OCD, you'd be surprised at how, you know, you're like, they're just credits. No one's going to watch the credits. Some people do watch the credits. I am one of those 1 in 100 people who does watch credits. Well, there's so many things that you can do with this. You can add in, because this is Ghost Adventures Luigi's Mansion, I can put in some boos. I even fiddled with changing the color and the font here, which wasn't really to my liking, but I did find a pretty cool font that looked like Luigi's Mansion. But there's so much stuff that you can do with it. And credits, if I'm trying to get to a point here, besides just showing you how to do credits, it's to tell you to you know, try to get through to your skull that credits are important and that you shouldn't forget about them. So, god dang it, sit down through those credits and stop getting up and jumping over the chairs to eject the DVD as soon as the written by comes on the screen. So, just appreciate the people who put these films together. You sat through 2 hours and 30 minutes of it in the first place. You can sit through 3 minutes of seeing the people who brought it to you. So, that's my spiel on that. And I think that might be the end of my video.